All right, left,
Yeah.
left, middle, right. These are the headlines in politics that real estate entrepreneurs and agents need to know. We are a week away exactly today, if you're watching this on release day, from the midterm elections. So
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the headlines we should know about as real estate professionals, Nicole?
All right, so this is with Redfin. Americans flocked to red and purple counties in key Senate race states during the pandemic.
Yeah, so pandemic fueled migration to red and purple counties in key states have made them somewhat less white. Increasing diversity could swing some of those purple places blue in this year's Senate midterms. That first bullet to me on Redfin, when you go through the article, I don't think they dug deep enough. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. But migration and shifts in racial makeup may fall short of counteracting. And so here they're hedging their bets, counteracting the forces favoring Republicans this year. The Republican Party is steadily gaining momentum, according to polling, and migration could favor the GOP if a lot of people move to places that more closely matched their political views. Purple counties in Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona, all key to this year's Senate elections, gained thousands of residents and became more diverse during the pandemic. Like the nation as a whole, migration to those states could favor either Democrats or Republicans. Let's put this chart up here, okay, that Redfin has. Red and purple counties in key states gained residents during the pandemic. Okay, so you had 300 in key states, what they're calling key states that could swing the power of Washington during these midterms. Red counties saw 340,000 change in number of residents to the positive. Purple counties, which typically are 50-50, the way they vote, you could vote either way. 289,000 in the positive. Blue counties lost 127,000 residents. Okay, and then non-key states, it was even greater. 509,000 for red gain, 271,000 net positive gain for purple, and then 1.281 thousand, huge number in non-key states for the blue. Like, New York would be non-key because what New York's going to be blue, right? And we know we saw a lot of people leave New York. California would be non-key. California is going to be blue, so it probably makes up a bunch of those. They consider the swing states Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and then Wisconsin. Florida historically has always been a purple state. Like, Nicole, you remember the election, the presidential election that came down to
Yep.
30,000 votes. It
Yep.
was crazy that you have a state that big and that small of a gap. And obviously that went on for weeks. Florida, after the midterm elections, probably won't look purple anymore. And I don't think Redfin on this article did a good enough job highlighting, what the pandemic did. They got into it a little bit. They talk about their strong forces that could counteract the diversity. So they spend a whole bunch of time talking about some of these red and purple counties now are more diverse. Well, that diversity left a blue area where, let's just face it, let's call it what it is. They left a blue area and went to these red and purple counties because they felt like they were shut down in those blue areas. They didn't feel like they could live their life the way they wanted to live their life during the pandemic. They went to these areas where they could live maybe more freely. Okay. So trying to guess where they're going to vote now, and just because it's that they're going to vote one way or another, I thought Redfin really fell short on that. But they do get into it down towards the bottom. Blue counties and key states lost residents, but it's not likely to impact midterm. You're probably going to see, a lot of red. That's what the projections are. You don't know till you see it. And they're talking about the fact that in here, Americans sorting themselves. This is where I thought this was interesting, Nicole. I want your take on this. Americans sorting themselves into neighborhoods to live near people similar to them, highlighted in the book The Big Sort, has progressed over the past 4 decades. When people relocate, they often choose an area made up of people similar to them. I do think that this was something that in the pandemic, I do think that this happened more than people think, where
Oh,
it's
of
like
course it did. Absolutely did. I mean, it really
political viewpoints,
caused,
lifestyle viewpoints.
of course, mask, no mask, testing, no testing, and then vaccines, who's getting a vaccine, who's not getting a vaccine. I mean, it certainly caused a huge divide. 100%. Yes.
What this is good information for an agent. Understanding who came, who left. Who came, who left your market. Who's moving into your market to be around more of the values that they, are attached to. And those
Mhm.
people are going to congregate and get into clubs and get into after hour activities that I'm not saying you got to go, and we're going to get into this in the second headline a little bit, and be outspoken about maybe some of the stronger viewpoints, but you may find some clubs and some places where people from other areas are joining these clubs and they recently migrated. And that's going to be a source to find out maybe who's coming next. Okay. Is this trend going to continue in my market? I don't know. I thought it was really interesting data. We'll see how the midterms impact this going forward. Headline number 2, Nicole.
Number 2 is Realtor Mag. When clients talk politics, stay above the fray.
Yeah, so they go through this a couple examples in here on this Realtor Mag article about a client asking an agent, so who did you vote for? You ever get around somebody who just like wants to keep bringing up politics, like like they're just bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up.
Usually in my family, but not in public. No.
And they're bringing it
Luckily.
up for no reason. Like it's not even
Right.
part of the conversation, but it always comes
Well,
back to that.
except what you said before, like they want to be around people that are like them.
Yeah, so that they can have those conversations. I'm talking about, like you said, a family event, a public
Yeah.
setting, and somebody's just
Yeah.
always, this is at a showing,
Yeah.
and
No.
this person
Yeah.
just keeps bringing up alternative lifestyles and abortion and these types of like extremely red hot button topics that when you're on a professional showing, you definitely, as the agent, don't want to engage in those at all.
Nope.
And so this agent says, yes, I have my thoughts and beliefs, but they are mine. And I have found it's not safe or wise professionally or personally to discuss personal beliefs with strangers. Now, I wouldn't call somebody I'm showing a house to a stranger. That's probably
Yeah.
off-putting to that
Right.
potential client of yours. That they should probably be a client at that point if you're showing them property. What's your response, Nicole? Have you had that question? Because I know I have.
No one's ever, to be honest, put me in that type of position before.
You've never been asked in 12 plus years if you have a
By a
political
client?
viewpoint by a client. Yeah.
Never.
Wow. Interesting.
Nope. Never.
Interesting.
No, I feel like it's a topic that I even avoid it. I try to avoid it here. I try to avoid it with you. Like I consciously avoid the conversation. So I don't know that I've ever really opened myself up to make anybody maybe feel as though it's an appropriate question to even ask, because it's never part of anything that I ever talk about, ever.
And so they asked the question down here, is it ever okay to reveal personal opinions? That, this article is basically of the mindset of like what you're saying. Don't. I think that there's, I would say 90. I agree 90% with that. You never want to. First of all, you don't want to openly discuss this, and
No.
you don't want to be that agent that right now is posting your beliefs on Facebook and Instagram about, the midterms, about who you want to vote for, about how you, because now you're just alienating people that are on the other side. You're representing your neighborhood, the businesses, the economy. As a real estate professional, you can't take that hat off after 5 p.m. on your Facebook account. You need to stay down the middle. You need to stay away from commenting on which side of the aisle you believe in politically and represent your town, your community, the businesses, and the economy. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That being said, in a private setting, I don't, you really want to connect with somebody. You get to know somebody. You've done a couple deals with somebody, and you find that your beliefs are similar. Or on the flip side, I've actually had clients where our beliefs weren't similar, and we had very healthy discussions at dinner. My wife remembers some of these dinners in Mystic, Connecticut, where we would have, it was fun. We enjoyed it. We had conversation. I think you should respect people that don't want to have those conversations. If you get a real trustworthy relationship and you both want to engage in a healthy conversation about it, I don't think in those cases it's a bad thing. I think we don't want to be in a place in this country where nobody can ever talk about politics. You only talk about your politics, behind closed doors. That's, to me, that's not very collaborative. You don't grow that way. You don't see other people's viewpoints. You can't learn that way. And so these people that just never talk about it, just shut off the world about it, they're also shutting off a lot of opportunities to learn and grow. But as an agent, you're representing yourself online. You absolutely should stay away from it 110% of the time. There's never a place and time for you to do that. And you see this mostly, by the way, I'm not saying this isn't a political statement. You see it mostly on the left. The left, for whatever reason, believes that anything that they say happens to be gospel. So they don't think that they're doing, they think 100% of people believe what they're putting out online, right? That's the whole reason Elon's buying Twitter right now, because you have too much of this, like, no, this is the way it is. This viewpoint should be standard across the board. And sometimes a lot of these viewpoints are debatable. So, I mean, I'm thinking of agents in our market on the left that do this and shoot themselves in the foot all the time with this kind of stuff.
I will say, though, that I do encourage actually voting, though.
Oh, we talked about this last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about it now again because we're only a week away too. So, I mean, I'll certainly post a "I voted" sticker. But
100%.
That's as far as I'll go.
Encourage
Yeah.
people to vote. You should be
100%.
voting.
Or encourage them, show them where they can, especially if they're new to the neighborhood. Because again, if we're sort of looping this around too, I mean, let people know like links that they can register to vote. Let them know that it's still not too late to register to vote. Most places are still letting you register almost to the day of. So
a good newsletter, a good email, or a good blog for
even
your
a
brand
Facebook
might be
post. All of it. Yeah.
How to vote here in our town.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Where to go.
How to vote.
Yep. And how to register, for sure.
Yeah. And how to register. Absolutely. Hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.